My name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Museum Open House. This ongoing series features and highlights many of the outstanding museums and other cultural institutions. The main purpose of most programs is to inform viewers about current and upcoming exhibits, various programs, resources, and other opportunities that are available for the general public. Today, via Zoom, we're fortunate to have as our guest Boriana Kantcheva. Boriana is a Boston-based artist, and she also serves as the director of visual arts at the Dorothy and Charles Mosesian Center for the Arts, which is located in Watertown. In addition to informing us all about Mosesian arts, Boriana is here today to take us on a behind-the-scenes tour of the current exhibition entitled From the Studios, Artwork from Our Teaching Artists and Students. In the process, we'll come to better understand and appreciate the wide range of outstanding artwork, showcasing the talents of the teaching artists and students who have taken adult visual arts classes in the last few sessions, as well as some young artists who are attending the 2024 Summer Stages and Studios program. Let's start by meeting Boriana and then hearing all about the Dorothy and Charles Mosesian Center for the Arts. Welcome, Boriana. So delighted you're able to be here.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here and talk about the current exhibit and as well as the center, which is such a great place.
You know, I've long admired the center, I've enjoyed visits there, eager to find out more and have you inform viewers. But before we jump right to that, I also think it would be of interest if you'd briefly share a little bit more that you might want to about your background, artistic, professional interests, and what your current position entails, please.
Of course, I'm glad to do so. Well, I'm originally from Bulgaria, but I've been in this area for over now almost 30 years. I attended the Mass College of Art, and later on, I have a graduate degree from the Museum School and Tufts University. My background is in painting and printmaking, and I have managed a gallery prior to coming to Mosesian Arts. And since I've been at the Mosesian Arts, I've curated and managed a large gallery, which is about 2 floors of gallery space. And I also organized the adult visual arts program, which has been a really such a pleasure. We have visual art classes for adults that I'm in charge of. I find the teachers, work on the curriculum, and I also teach as I have a background in painting and printmaking.
Wonderful, wonderful. Moving on, could you provide just a little bit about the history and mission of the center, please?
Of course. So the Mosesian has a very interesting history, and it is an army building. The building is it was built in 1894, so quite old. Originally was used by the US Army as a storage facility and later on as a production facility. In the 90s, the building was no longer used by the US Army, so eventually it was sold to the town of Watertown, and later on, the town sold it to developers, and developers were looking, I mean, as it was they were renovating the building, and a group of people in the late 90s, early 2000, local artists and art admirers actually ended up securing a lease of 99 years to
Wow.
provide an artistic space for the community of
Hmm.
Watertown and beyond, because the Mosesian House, not only a gallery, but a main stage theater with 300 spaces, a
Yeah.
black box. We have amazing children's theater, rehearsal spaces, studio spaces. I mean, we have a great organization that has a little bit about, we're serving so many different community members, and not just in Watertown, but now from the areas around, like towns around Watertown as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, if we have time at the end, enjoy hearing about current and some upcoming programming in the fall. But for now, let's move on to the current exhibition from the studios. Why and how did this come about?
So we have about seven exhibits a year. As you have seen the space, it's quite large. It takes a pretty big amount of planning and work to have one of these exhibits. And I'm very fortunate to be able to curate all of them. From the studios actually came about, we have a number of really talented students. We have a number of very enthusiastic and knowledgeable teachers. And I wanted to give the students and the teachers an opportunity to show their work. The work that's on the walls and the main gallery, the first and the second floor, is from classes from the adult visual arts program from the last few sessions. And we also have one part of the gallery is dedicated to the artwork that's being produced at the moment from our stages and studios summer program. So it's a really great combination of seeing work from visual artists that are adults, but also young artists from all kinds of different, different backgrounds, different artistic abilities. Is our mission is to really provide creative space for everybody, from like the most experienced to people that are brand new to the concept of art making.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we're fortunate to have a series of images from some of the artwork that's displayed. So let's move on to that, and please take us on a tour. And as we go, just share a little bit about the artist, the individual, whether they're a teacher, student,
Mhm.
and the type of artwork that they've chosen to display, please.
Yes. So the first image you see on the screen right now is, well, first of all, I should say that when you go into the space, you'll notice that the labels have information about, of course, the artist, the name, the medium, but also what class they took. I think it just gives a great, if people are coming into the center and they're wondering, well, what classes do you have? They could
Mm.
come around, look around and see, oh, okay, this is from a painting class, this is from a printmaking class. I mean, like we don't have all the classes represented in the exhibit at the moment, but we have a lot of them since they're from the last few sessions. So the first image you see is Mers. She is somebody who came to us, is already very experienced artist, and she happens to be in my experimental printmaking, developing your images, developing a project class. And this is the monotype, which is the printmaking technique where you kind of paint on a plate, create different marks, and then eventually run it through a small press to create this multi-layered image.
It's gorgeous, gorgeous.
Thank you. She's very, very good.
Mm. And this next individual, please.
This is from Jessica Lomelli, and Jessica has been taking beginning and intermediate painting with acrylics.
Mhm.
The instructor is Marta Kiemer, and Jessica is really dedicated artist. She creates this beautiful landscapes and still lives. But what I really love about this piece is the brush marks and how energetic. It's abstract, but yet it's it's clearly you can see the forest, and it's really well executed, very energetic brushwork.
Really appreciate the range of vibrant colors throughout. With
Yeah, really gives you the sense of fall and kind of moving into this
most
path.
definitely, for
Yeah.
sure. Yes. Moving on to this one, please.
This is Nancy Goodman, and she's also another student of mine who has taken a printmaking class with me for the last maybe 3 sessions. And the printmaking class that I teach is about using very affordable, non-toxic materials. A lot of the work is done using cardboard and chipboard and inking the plate and running it through the press. This is kind of like a monotype and monoprint, a little bit of collage. And she's done a number of really beautiful, very modern looking prints.
Wonderful, wonderful. So for a class like this, do you have a range of students, different abilities?
Yeah, I actually have the class open to everybody. Nancy came to me, as we have her image on the screen. She came to me with a little bit of experience, but it was maybe years and years ago. She almost like starting anew, and the amount of print and progress that she's made is like really unbelievable. So I really take people, even people with experience, from the very first steps of making a plate to mixing colors to using
Hmm,
the press and creating and developing ideas.
nice, nice. Whose work do we see here?
This is Sarah Mara. She has been taking classes so with Marta Kiemer again in the painting with acrylics, and she's been in a few exhibits. She's a local artist, and now she started introducing collage to her paintings, which
Hmm,
is a pretty interesting idea of combining very painterly backgrounds with the collage found in magazines.
it's very engaging. Really like that combination a lot.
Yeah, me too. Arlene is actually one of our teachers. She does sight American Sign Language, and she's also teaching voice, and she's more on the theater performance side of things. And but she's also happens to be a photographer, so I
Hmm.
was very excited to have some of her images to include in the exhibit.
Oh, what a shot.
Yeah.
Always interested in talking to photographers about how they happen to capture the different items that they're displaying. But unfortunately, we can't hear that conversation now, but just admire her work for a moment is fabulous.
Yes, she'll be so excited. I think she has not had a lot of exposure in terms of presenting her visual arts in the gallery setting. So it was maybe one of our very first times where she had her visual art represented, and she was very excited to be part of this exhibit.
Mhm. Whose work do we see here, please?
This is Marianne Garlick, and she's also part of the acrylic painting class. She's also one of the students that has been with Marta for some time, so she's very experienced and focuses a lot on landscape as well
Hmm.
as still life. Here we see one of her landscapes.
Wow, another terrific contribution.
Mhm. This is Merce again, and it happens to be from a different class called Visual Narratives. And Visual Narratives is a class that we now have offered for, I would like to say, for the last couple of years. It is for adults 55 and up. Um, it is funded by a grant, and we've had some really wonderful, it's not only just learning art but also building community. A lot of the students have been coming back over and over again, obviously for learning, but also that community. They
Hmm.
love being together every Tuesday morning from 10:30 to 12:30.
Wow.
And we have a wonderful teacher, Dawn, who is a Watertown resident and a great artist, and they've been just doing really fabulous things.
That's a great example of the center's attraction and connection to the local
Mhm.
community for sure.
Mhm. Yes.
Fabulous.
And Marianne French Collins, she is a wonderful, again, Watertown artist, and She's been part of the visual narratives class. Clearly, she has a lot of experience. So even in that class, we have people that have not done anything since, grade school, and
Mm,
then we have the professional artists, and they all find something that is valuable in those settings.
wow. Yeah, speaking of settings, that's a
Mhm.
gorgeous one that she's captured.
Yeah, she does incredible landscapes.
Mm.
That's
Another,
another piece by Sarah Mara that we saw earlier from the acrylic painting class. And again, striking images with a very painterly background and beautiful combination of collage and painting.
yeah, the more seeing of her work, just find it very appealing. The combination, the way she's
Mhm.
achieved it, really produces some engaging work. Mm.
Yeah.
Again, another incredible range of coloring too.
Yes, she is a great colorist, and it's kind of wonderful to see her. She's, like I said, she's been in a few different exhibits, and I really enjoyed the progress and sort of I mean, there's a continuation, and then new ideas, new development that I see in artists that I now have known for the last few years. It's really amazing.
Right. That's a wonderful vantage point that you have to see the growth
Mhm.
and development within a medium, and also in this case, just branching out, trying something new and going with it, as this one has. Wonderful, wonderful. Whose work do we see here, please?
We have Wendy Wolf Fine. She is a printmaker that I've met a few years ago. I'm a part of a printmaking co-op at Davis Square, and that's where we met. And then she decided to take my class because the way I was saying earlier, we're using interesting and expensive materials like cardboard. And in this print, it's actually I'd call a dry point. It's done on something called Tetra Pak.
Hmm.
It's really basically what you'd find almond milk in. So we're using this like discarded recycled materials to make plates and create prints that mimic what's traditionally been called a dry point. And she's combining dry point with monoprint. So she's also one of the artists that have been in my class for a while, and it's we've tried all kinds of different materials and themes and colors, so it's wonderful to have that continuity again.
Wonderful. No, it sounds like you and the other teachers bring a very openness, sort of sense of play and almost to the instruction and the whole class. I can see why it's so appealing for groups to continue to come back and want to be together among themselves and with the instructors.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And it's the instructors, we have wonderful instructors, but I mean, the students are amazing. They, bring so much energy and they learn from each other. And this is all about like, a learning in a setting where we could be together, learn from each other, exchange ideas.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we still have several more to enjoy. Whose work
Mhm.
is here, please?
Susan Plant, she's another printmaker. She actually happens to be an independent printmaker. We have an option at Mosesian Arts for artists to rent the studio space. And Susan is obviously very, gifted and very well versed in printmaking, so she could work independently. So she's been working probably for the last year, just a day a week, renting space and just working on her prints.
Here we
That's
see,
another Susan Plant. Yeah, you could see that's like a series that she's been working on.
Mm-hmm. Very nice, very nice. This,
And Pam Smith actually is from a class called Mixed Media class. It's a really wonderful, Ruth Henry is the teacher, and the way she structures the class is that usually students come in with ideas, and she's there to sort of facilitate and help with those ideas and provide instruction very specifically designed for each student and whatever their needs might be. And Pam is one of the group of people that have been coming for the last few sessions and working on different projects.
yeah, really like the variety and again, wonderful colors and
Mhm.
just lots of detail throughout. Something that you could spend a good bit of time standing in front of and enjoying.
Yeah, it's really like a wonderful example of like how to mix different materials. And
Mhm.
if you see, and we have a few other pieces of hers at the current exhibit, and if you see them, you'll see that touch that she has with mixing all kinds of like photographic material and like found pieces and paint.
Nice, nice. The last piece of work we want to share from the exhibition is this one here.
Mm-hmm. That's Ruth Henry's piece. And she's also part of the mixed media class. And you could see that she has a very different approach to mixed media, even though Pam and Ruth, they're both in Ruth's class. But like I said, they get very individual attention. Everything is tailored towards the need of the student. And obviously, um, Ruth has that ability to kind of talk and guide different students with different projects.
What's been some of the reaction and feedback to the exhibition that you've either heard, observed, since it's been up for several weeks now?
Several weeks. A lot of the students were very excited to have their work exhibited. Some of them are professional artists, or at least they have had some exposure as artists, but a lot of them have not had a lot of exposure. So it's kind of a great um, it's a great group to kind of like put together, and people have been very pleased. And having the class on the label has also been something that people were very happy about, because they could look at the work and say, oh, maybe it is for me, even though they haven't considered it before.
No, and when you first mentioned that type of labeling, it's a great testimony to have the work up there to the richness of the offerings and what can come out of the classes. So it serves many purposes and very helpful. Well, this is just one current exhibition,
Mhm.
but another one that just recently closed. Found fascinating just to read about. I didn't have a chance to visit, but would you share a few words about what Entwined entailed?
Mhm. Of course. So, well, some of these great images to show, just because they show the vast gallery space that we
Yeah.
have. And it is not like a traditional gallery where it's just one box of white walls. We have the theater, the black box, we have the studios, and yet this really gorgeous large space with beautiful natural light in some of the galleries. So Entwined was just right before the current exhibit, and was really visual art that was inspired by the written word. If you think about it like a word, an image, and in some cases, the work was very clearly inspired by maybe a novel or writing of some kind, a poem. And some of the work was, the connections were less noticeable until the artist talked about them. And
Hmm.
I think that's what really makes a great exhibit. Um, where you have so many different points of view, so many different artists interpreting the idea of what is word in image. And if you, in this particular one, you see Jane Goldman, who did a whole series of watercolor monotypes
Hmm.
where she's not really taking one story in particular, but talking about climate change and using images from old posters and movies to kind of create this narrative of what climate change means to her and how she perceives it. So it has the title Climate Change Stories.
Mm, mm.
Mhm.
We'll make our way just, fortunately, we won't have time to hear about them, but just to give viewers a sense of what was displayed.
So some of the yeah, some of it is you could see on the right. It's a piece about racism and all the different layers and words and meaning, and the artist feeling how such a very broad, like such a difficult topic. How do we talk about it? And how she used, writing and in visual arts to bring about, to talk about this kind of a topic. And again, the other piece is also if you are in the space, you'd see all the writing. This is actually by Ruth Henry, who was one of our teachers. And she does a lot of work with, again, with different very important topics like climate change, immigration, migration. And that's one of her pieces as well that involves writing, word and image.
Now, it speaks to both one of the strengths and powers of art to discuss and share ideas about a wide range of topics for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are just showing a couple of the other fabulous shots you provided about the gallery space and how well it's laid out and really the vast nature of the areas.
Yes, this is a really great image. It shows you how really big the space is and how tall the ceilings are. And in the foreground, you could see the images right here. It's actually an installation by Camille DeMarco, who's a wonderful installation artist and works with fabric and does a lot of very cool installations. And having this very tall ceiling really worked out so well to showcase her beautiful work.
Mhm. Well, as we see this final image of gallery space, I have to say, unfortunately, Boriana, we've come to the end of the program. I
Mm.
want to thank you so much for being here, for informing us about Mosesian Arts, and especially the current exhibition from the studios. We'll put in credits at the end, contact information, so viewers and others can keep informed about current and upcoming programming. Continued success with all future endeavors.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm happy to answer questions. And I hope to see you in the space.
Wonderful. Look forward to getting back soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.